All right. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. We've got a good number of people on this call. We sent a couple of reminders out, posts on the team app, as well as our UAE leadership and members group. But we're excited because this is an exclusive webinar where we have a very special guest today, Alex DaBell, who is a distinguished expert, not only in wellness and nutrition, but in doTERRA essential oils. So for over 15 years, Alex has collaborated with worldwide colleagues to develop high-end and high-quality nutritional products. And luckily for doTERRA, we have the best products in the world. So Alex, as I'm sure you may have seen a little bit in his bio, he enjoys staying abreast in the new discoveries in nutrition, exploring how these insights can enhance new and existing doTERRA products so that we can continue to enhance and create peak performing products in all of our product lines. And most importantly, we're excited to have Alex today to share his deep understanding of our lifelong vitality pack. So during our grand opening, we launched our LLV, our lifelong vitality pack. And so during this webinar, we're going to learn about how we can reclaim our health, how the lifelong vitality pack really is something that we should be implementing in our daily supplemental regimen to help with all sorts of support, whether it be cognitive, energizing, or immune. The LLV can do so much for us. So we're very excited to have Alex. Thank you so much for joining us on this call. We know that you're super busy. You got a hectic schedule. But we appreciate you and all the people in the UAE. This Dubai and Abu Dhabi mostly is where the attendees are joining from, but it looks like we have a few from other places. But we appreciate you coming on, and I'll go ahead and turn the time over to you, Alex.
Oh, thank you, Andrew. It's always a treat to join with our wellness advocate leaders wherever they are in the world. And of course, I love talking about our amazing products. I agree with you 100%. We have the best products in the world. So I'm excited to talk about one of our most foundational product offerings. And so I wasn't going to miss this opportunity, even if we had to rearrange the timing and the schedule. So happy to join. I have some slides I'm going to share about these products. So I'm going to see if I can do that and not mess anything up too much.
Perfect. And I'll be in the background for you, Alex. So if you need anything, just let me know. I'll be here answering questions on the chat, and then I can help manage if there's any technical difficulties.
Okay. Can we see the ABCs of LLV?
Yes, that looks great.
All right, awesome.
I can see it.
Well, yes, as Andrew mentioned, I have, a very awesome role at doTERRA, working on our products, helping to design them, develop them all around the world. I like to introduce myself a little bit as well when I visit with people, so they can understand my background a little bit about who I am and the why of what I'm doing. And so I introduce myself by showing a picture of my family. These are people, they know me the best, for better and for worse. My wife Lisa and our four busy, energetic children. You can see here in this picture that we love to be outside. We love to enjoy the outdoors. We've been doing that this summer now in Utah, and this requires, tending to our health and our wellness. And that's what we're talking about today, is those healthy habits that will give us the highest quality of life. So what does that mean from a lifestyle choice and also from a product use perspective? And that's what we're discussing. If you've been with doTERRA at all, you've likely seen our reference to the wellness pyramid. And this wellness pyramid provides a nice logical structure for the lifestyle decisions that we make, right? We need to have daily movement. We need to get adequate rest. We need to manage our exposure to environmental toxins and things like this. And of course, at the base of this wellness pyramid, we need to be sure we're consuming not just adequate, but the right types of nutrients that come from our diet. So we talk about nutrition and digestion being at the base of the pyramid, that if we're not taking care of this foundation, then it's hard for the rest of the scaffolding there, the pyramid, to perform well, to be upheld. So we need to make sure that we're tending to that base. And this includes, of course, our dietary choices, but also filling in those nutrient gaps that we all are dealing with, to one degree or another. And we are able to fill those nutrient gaps with our anchor foundational product offering, Lifelong Vitality. And there's so much that goes into this product offering. And fortunately, today we're going to talk about each of the products in this kit, and we'll do so fast enough so that there's time for a few questions at the end. But there's a lot to get through, so we'll keep moving along. Now, in Lifelong Vitality, we have 3 products. We have our Microplex, our Alpha CRS, and our XE Omega. These are 2 capsules and a soft gel product, and each of these products could stand alone on its own. It's that powerful, it's that robust in its formulation and providing the benefits that it does. But we provide them in a kit for total comprehensive benefit. And as Andrew mentioned, we were getting started, we want to make sure that each of us is experiencing these benefits by using these products on a daily basis. These are foundational products that are designed, that are formulated and positioned to be used on a daily basis. We have everyday products and we have targeted health solutions that are to use when needed. These products in Lifelong Vitality should be used every day by everyone. And one of the reasons for this is that all of the micronutrients in Lifelong Vitality are supporting all of the different body systems throughout our body. So we're highlighting different organ systems here. And all of the micronutrients, there are dozens of micronutrients in these 3 products that are supporting each of our organ systems and the different types of cells and tissues that we find all throughout our body. It's one of the reasons that this product offering is such an incredible value, because of the reach, the scope that it provides and all of the different nutrients that are available. I like to share an analogy that I came across from a well-known businessman, investor, philanthropist who's known all throughout the world, Warren Buffett. This is a man who is worth more than $100 billion. He's been investing in businesses throughout his entire life. And he visited with a group of young adults, and they were talking about life decisions and important aspects and how to get started in life from a young age. And he shared some important information. And you might have thought that he was going to talk about business, but he didn't talk about business. He instead he asked a rhetorical question of these young adults, these college age kids. He asked them if they were able to receive a car of their choice, any kind of car that they wanted, and it could be any color, and it could be any model and any year, and it was absolutely free to them. The only catch was it would be the only car they would ever receive their entire life. And then he asked the question, how would you take care of this vehicle? Realizing that it's the only one you'll ever get your entire life. And of course, if this was the case, we would make sure that we're changing the oil, that we're rotating the tires, that we're making sure that all the different systems and fluids and mechanisms are working like they should, if it's the only vehicle that we will ever have. And it's true that we may have many different vehicles in our life, but we'll only ever have one body and one mind. And he highlights this in really emphasizing how important it is that we take care of our bodies and our minds. And at doTERRA, this is, of course, our primary focus in helping us to achieve the highest quality of life. And so we offer solutions to help with this, to help maintain this vehicle that takes us through life, that takes us through the experiences that we have, the relationships that we develop, the memories that we are making. And so in Lifelong Vitality, we are tending to this vehicle. We'll talk a little bit about the specifics of that. There's a well-known um, uh, nutritional biochemist by the name of Bruce Ames. And he came up with this theory of the triage theory of aging and disease. And what this theory describes is that if we are not consuming adequate nutrients for our bodies, then some areas of our bodies will be deficient. And this deficiency over time contributes to the development of aging and disease, right? You can imagine that if we don't have enough to go around, then our body is forced to prioritize. And that means that some areas are left out. And if they're left out long enough, then it starts to show up. We might not notice this right away, but over time, we do notice this. And so we need to make this investment in our health and our wellness over the long haul. There's a interesting quote by the World Bank, and I've included it here on this slide, that the control of vitamin and mineral deficiencies is one of the most extraordinary development-related scientific advances of recent years. No other technology available offers as large an opportunity to improve lives and accelerate development at such a low cost in such a short time. And I've included this because although we might wonder, what does the World Bank have to worry about or be concerned with, vitamin and mineral deficiencies? But to recognize the cost on society and to recognize the cost on individual lives, we can understand why a group like the World Bank is interested in this type of investment in our health and wellness, certainly at the societal level, but also at the individual level. This holds true for each and every one of us. So we need to make sure that our nutrient needs are not outweighing our nutrient availability. And that's what lifelong vitality is all about. So in Microplex, which is our premier vitamin and mineral product, we have all of the different letter vitamins. You can see here all of the vitamin A and B complex, vitamin D and C and E, all these important nutrients. These are actually, the term vitamin comes from the combination of two words, vital, amine. These are amine chemical compounds, and vitamins is a combination of vital amines, and these are absolutely critical to our health and wellness. One of the ways we know that they're critical is because when we experience deficiencies, we actually see disease states show up, right? People who are severely deficient in vitamin C or in niacin or in iron or vitamin A, you can see and attribute different disease states to those deficiencies. So we want to make sure, of course, that our bodies have those nutrients that we need. Now, to the vitamins, of course, we're combining complementary bioavailable minerals. Now, minerals are important for the way that enzymes function in our bodies. And speaking of enzymes, we have also an active enzyme blend. This active enzyme blend is helping to digest the macronutrients that are part of our diet. They convert larger carbohydrate, protein, and fat compounds into smaller absorbable nutrient packets that our body can then make use of. So we've included the whole foods blend and the digestive enzyme blend to aid in the absorption of these micronutrients. That's a unique aspect of Microplex. As I mentioned, the vitamins and minerals, of course, are important for our health and wellness, and the way that they function is as cofactors, right? The process of converting food into energy in our bodies requires cofactors. And the B vitamins are, of course, critical in this process. Then as we're synthesizing collagen, vitamin C plays an important role there. When we're depositing calcium into the bones or using calcium as a signaling molecule and propagating a signal from a nerve to a muscle, all of these different vitamins and minerals play critical roles in maintaining our health and wellness, from our immune system to the way our brain is functioning. to the actual skeletal muscular structure of our bodies. Each of these nutrients plays an important role. Let's talk about the next product in lifelong vitality, our XE Omega product. Now, this is the soft gel, and it looks a little different from the others. It's a dark red looking product, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But this product, as the name implies, XE Omega, is providing omega fatty acids. These are healthy fats. We've often heard the phrase, healthy fats, and these long chain fatty acids that we get, known as triglycerides, from either marine or land-based sources. These are what we're referring to. And these healthy fats play an important role in all these different areas of our bodies, from our brains to our heart, to helping to regulate pain or inflammation. All these healthy fats play an important role. In fact, there's recent studies that have concluded there that red blood cell long chain omega-3 fatty acid percentages are associated with a lower risk for total or mortality. And there are ways to easily measure your red blood cell omega-3 fatty acid percentage now, and then attribute that to your relative risk. And so it's important that we're consuming adequate amounts of these healthy fats. Now, what are the ingredients in XE Omega? We've got, along with the healthy fats, we've got fat-soluble micronutrients. So the vitamin A, the vitamin D, the vitamin E, these are all fat-soluble vitamins. And then to those vitamins, one of the distinct physical characteristics of XE Omega is the red appearance. And this comes from the carotenoid blend, which is unique to this product. We have a collection of carotenoids in beta-carotene, in lycopene, lutein, zeaxanthin, and astaxanthin. And these really provide exceptional antioxidant protection, not only for this product in helping to prevent the fatty acids from oxidizing, but also in providing protection for our cells. And of course, the essential oil component is unique to XE Omega, not only in the marketplace, but also to Lifelong Vitality. This is the product that delivers the essential oil blend that we, of course, love and appreciate at doTERRA more than anywhere else. I want to just comment about the way that carotenoids are produced. One of the unique aspects of carotenoids, and I'll highlight astaxanthin in particular. Astaxanthin comes from algae, which is exposed to ultraviolet radiation from the sun, just like us. Each and every one of us is exposed to ultraviolet radiation. When the algae are exposed to this environmental threat, they produce a protective compound known as astaxanthin. And this astaxanthin helps to protect the algae cells from the damaging effects of ultraviolet radiation. When we consume these antioxidant carotenoids, we're transferring the benefits from these natural compounds into our own cells for our own benefit. So it's truly fascinating how we can harness the power of nature to improve our health and wellness. There's always additional research being conducted on the benefits of healthy fats and consuming healthy fats. And this is one that I wanted to highlight about the regular consumption of fish oil and reducing the risk of different types of dementia. When we talk about lifelong vitality, one of the things that people fear the most about aging is losing their cognitive faculties. And it's reassuring to know that there's something that we can do to help us maintain our cognitive function, our memory, the way that our brain is functioning. Most of us know that our brain is mostly composed of fat, right? And so when we're consuming these healthy fats, we're, of course, contributing to the health of our cardiometabolic parameters, but also our cognition, our brain, and the way that it functions. So you can look forward to that benefit as well. Now, one of the ways that this product, XE Omega, is working is the incorporation. I mentioned the red blood cells. The incorporation of healthy fats into our red blood cells, and our other cell type, the membrane of all of our different cells. And all of these cells are incorporating fatty acids into their membrane and help maintain the fluidity of the membrane and the way that the cell surface receptors are functioning for each of our different cell types. One of the other unique aspects that I mentioned with the carotenoids is the antioxidant protection that we get. And thirdly, the essential oils that are providing protection and unique chemistry in this product, like no other in Lifelong Vitality, and certainly like no other in the marketplace. So this is one thing that makes us unique. And I did see a hand raised. I wanted to encourage you to hang on to, make note of the questions. We're going to get through these slides and then come back to questions that are available. Let's talk about the third product in Lifelong Vitality. This is Alpha CRS. And of all three products, Alpha CRS stands out probably as one of the more unique components. There are in the marketplace other vitamin and mineral products, even fatty acid products. I've highlighted why ours are unique in Microplex and XC Omega. But Alpha CRS is truly unique, and it surprises a lot of people. But there's a lot of reason behind the formulation, behind Alpha CRS, and the different ingredients that are included. You can see here that Alpha CRS is a collection of botanical extract ingredients. And these are powerful compounds that we get from all these different botanical sources to support the way that our cells are functioning. And we're exposed simply by being alive. We're exposed to a number of different environmental threats. And I want to explain a little bit about that because it helps us to understand why we have Alpha CRS. Now, we've talked about the health of our cells, and the name Alpha CRS includes reference to cells. The CRS stands for Cellular Renewal System. And to understand the mechanism by which Alpha CRS benefits our bodies, we need to understand a little bit about the structure of a cell. Now, the cell is the smallest unit that can grow and reproduce. Cells divide, and it sustains, life processes. We have different organelles inside of our cells. We have different receptors on our cells. We have DNA that is housed inside of our cells. And these cells are routinely fighting a battle. They're fighting a battle to help protect against degradation. And this degradation can come from a couple of different sources primarily. One is from our environment, and the other is simply by being alive. So I've included here a reference to environmental contaminants, such as pollution, ultraviolet radiation that we talked about from the sun, these things that contribute to cellular damage. And then also simply by being alive, whether we're following good dietary practices or not, and even exercising and just aging and growing each and every day, our cells are exposed to different types of threats they need to protect themselves against. And I want to describe a little bit what that looks like. So we've discussed antioxidants, polyphenols, botanical extracts, and how they work. So with a cell is exposed then to free radicals. Now, free radicals are those compounds that have unbalanced electrons. And when you have an unbalanced electron, you can see there in purple that you're missing an electron. It's not stable. And therefore, that compound wants to go and steal an electron. And if it steals an electron from DNA or from an organelle inside of a cell or from a component of your cell membrane, then it causes oxidative damage. It causes oxidative stress to that piece of DNA or that piece of cellular machinery or that component of the cell membrane. So we have this process that happens over time that it contributes to oxidative stress. And again, this is something that none of us is able to fully avoid, right? We can do things to reduce our exposure to environmental pollutants, to ultraviolet radiation, and we can make good dietary choices. But in the process of metabolizing our food and in the process of exercising and simply in the process of being alive each and every day, we are exposed to these free radical compounds. We need to do what we can to help neutralize them. One of the most effective things we can do is consume a bunch of antioxidants. Now, antioxidants have, as the picture depicts here, they have an extra electron that they can donate. So the antioxidant can donate the electron and neutralize the free radical. Since a free radical wants to be balanced, it will steal an electron. And an antioxidant has extra electrons to donate. So it's a great pairing of an antioxidant and a free radical to help create a stable compound and contribute to healthy cellular environment. And this has been discovered, since getting newer equipment to conduct research and discover scientific advances has really looked at disease states that are developing over time and recognizing the importance of neutralizing free radicals to help prevent against these types of disease states that will develop slowly over time. Again, this triage theory of aging and disease, that if we don't maintain and keep up with the maintenance of the cells of our body, then it will catch up with us over time. So this is what some of the compounds that are being neutralized by the antioxidant compounds in lifelong vitality, and specifically in alpha-CRS. We have superoxides, peroxides, hydroxyl radicals, and then inside of our bodies, if we're helping to neutralize these free radicals directly with the antioxidant polyphenols from botanical extracts, we're supporting also our natural ability inside of our cells with these antioxidant enzymes. We're helping to prevent the overload of these antioxidant enzymes, such as our superoxide dismutase and our glutathione reductase, our glutathione transferase, even our catalase enzymes. And so this is the biochemistry side of what we're achieving with alpha-CRS. Now, what about those specific botanical extracts that we're including? You'll recognize some of these that have long been used as natural sources to support health and wellness over the centuries. People have recognized these compounds. Boswellia, of course, aiding in our mobility and our joint function. We have milk thistle, for example, that supports our liver health and our body's ability to eliminate toxicity. The liver is one of our primary cleansing organs. We look at the polyphenols from green tea extract that help to prevent against oxidative stress as well, those catechin antioxidant compounds. In addition to these, we've got pomegranate, turmeric, grape, pine bark. They're all providing these proanthocyanidin, polyphenolic compounds, curcuminoids that help to not only reduce our oxidative stress, but also to influence the epigenetic expression of our DNA. So pro-inflammatory downstream compounds. Pineapple extract, of course, providing the digestive enzyme bromelain, which helps in supporting our immune system. This is additional benefits from alpha-CRS. Now, those botanical extracts make up our cellular longevity blend. And to the cellular longevity blend, we have this cellular energy blend. We talk about the importance of our mitochondria producing energy. Mitochondria produce a compound called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And this is recognized as the energy currency of the cell. When our mitochondria produce ATP, that ATP can then be transferred to other areas in the cell and throughout the body to perform or to help to allow energy requiring biochemical processes to happen. So it's so critical that our mitochondria are functioning properly. So in alpha CRS, we've included important mitochondrial cofactors in this cellular energy blend, things like alpha lipoic acid and coenzyme Q10 as part of the electron transport chain, quercetin and ginkgo. These important mitochondrial cofactors help us to really feel the product working inside of our cells. Now, when it comes to longevity, we're talking about lifelong vitality, right? And so we talked about dementia with XC omega and the importance of healthy fats. And we talk about flavonoids and antioxidant compounds in alpha CRS and those impacts on our health and wellness over time. And interesting study looked at the exposure of individuals who are consuming high levels of flavonol compounds. These are botanical extract compounds that we've been talking about. And a follow-up with these individuals after nearly 20 years of participants, and again, 2,800 participants, this is not a small group. This is a large group of people who are consuming these. And those individuals that consumed highest levels of these antioxidant flavonols, they had a lower risk of cognitive impairment. And so we want to encourage, of course, and experience the benefits of consuming these higher levels of flavonols and these antioxidant compounds. In fact, more recently, there's been some more specific recommendations around flavonol consumption or flavonoid consumption. And that term is not necessarily widely recognized as the term antioxidants. But they're one and the same. Flavanol, a flavonoid, is a specific type of antioxidant. And more recently, dietary guidelines and recommendations have recognized the benefits of these compounds, and they're now starting to recommend to general population higher consumption of these types of antioxidant compounds to experience the benefits that they enjoy. Now, I began by showing a picture of my family being outdoors and enjoying the outdoors, and we've been doing that so far this summer. And this is a picture of an archway in Utah. If you've been to Utah, you see this beautiful landscape where there's been erosion to create these amazing beautiful pieces of nature all around us. And you see in this archway what has happened over a long period of time. Now, one of the unfortunate things is that if we're not maintaining an arch like this, for example, then you can have this archway collapse, which actually happened in Utah. And I shared this example simply as a reminder to us all that if we're not tending to these nutrient requirements throughout the cells of our bodies, the tissues of our bodies, all these things that we encompass in the wellness pyramid, then we can suffer a setback like the collapse of an arch is a similar type of scenario, whether that's an illness or we are not, maybe our metabolism doesn't function like it's supposed to, our brain, our cognitive function is not performing where it needs to be. We can have these kinds of setbacks in our own life. But we have, fortunately, lifelong vitality that provides all these vital nutrients for our bodies to thrive. And so hopefully you're making this part of your daily routine. And I know we covered a lot of information. I went a little faster because I wanted to save some time to be able to answer some questions. And so I'd like to open it up if there are questions that we can talk about with the remaining time that we have. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll allow you to unmute. Someone asked, is there a reason why sunflower oil is used?
Oh, that's a great question. So we do on occasion. I'll explain a little bit about that. On the surface, when we see something like, um, maybe it's providing an omega-6 or something like this, like a different type of fat, like sunflower oil, is not recognized as a source of omega-3 fats, which most people will understand are healthy fats, right? You have other types of oils or fats that are considered pro-inflammatory. And sunflower is one of those that is considered pro-inflammatory. The reason that you see sunflower included in like in Omega, for example, is as a standardizing component. What I mean by standardizing component, so we have a carotenoid blend, which is where this shows up. So in the carotenoid blend, we have a percentage of that ingredient that is lutein, for example. This may be a 20% lutein concentration. And lutein comes from marigold plants. Now, those marigold plants don't produce exactly 20% lutein all the time. So, to standardize that concentration of lutein, to then include that in our Omega soft gel and have that be a consistent amount of lutein to support our label claim, you have what's called a functional standardizing diluent, meaning you can get a standardized, consistent concentration of the ingredient. And so that's what the role of sunflower is performing in Omega. Now, some might wonder why are we using that type of an oil? Well, it's a natural oil and it's a non-allergenic oil. And in this dosage, it's not pro-inflammatory. So I mentioned the pro-inflammatory aspect because that's usually what people are keying in on or focusing in on when they look at something like sunflower. And they've heard things, for example, that, oh, if you consume a lot of sunflower oil, then it can be pro-inflammatory to your body. And that's true. But I need to remind us all that the context matters, the dosing matters. There's a compound called dihydrogen monoxide. You might have heard of it. It's also commonly known as water. Dihydrogen monoxide, two hydrogens, one oxygen. And if you have too much water, it can actually kill you. But of course, this is not the case for most individuals. So I share that example, that simple example, because it holds true for the case of sunflower. In this use in Omega, we're using sunflower in milligram amounts. Now, milligram amounts you might consider, for example, in our beadlet products. We have milligram amounts of essential oils, these powerful compounds, right? But when you look at the pro-inflammatory research study around sunflower oil, these are from individuals who are consuming grams, multiple grams of sunflower oil. And so this would be several thousand times the amount and the concentration of sunflower that actually contributes to that inflammation. So the context matters and the dose matters, but that's a little bit of information why we have sunflower in this product, again, to standardize the active ingredient, and why you shouldn't be worried about inflammation from this amount of sunflower oil, because it's not relevant from a dosing perspective for the pro-inflammatory research models that have been done. Hopefully that helps. Let's see if we have any other.
Yeah, it looks like the other question after that was, what age is it recommended that people start taking LLV, and can teenagers take it?
Yes, so dosing is based on size, right? So a larger person, a typical, full-size adult may be considered 65 kilograms, for example. And so a serving of Lifelong Vitality is intended for a full-size adult. So if you have other individuals who are looking to use lifelong vitality who aren't full-size adult, then they may modify their dosing based, accordingly. So if they're 75% of a full-size adult, maybe they use 3 capsules instead of 4, or instead of 9 capsules total serving instead of 12, for example. But the most accurate dosing is based upon weight, not necessarily age. Age is a more common reference because as people grow, you can understand an age easier than the weight.
Awesome. We don't have the vegan LLV in the UAE, but somebody did ask what is used to replace the fish oil in the vegan version.
So we have a vegan product that provides omegas. Instead of fish being the source, you have some DHA coming from algae. You have pumpkin, cranberry, borage, flax. These are all botanical sources that provide different fatty acid compositions than you would get from a marine source like fish oil. And one of the differences is you have a metabolic pathway, a cascade in converting between different types of fatty acids. And your body is able to convert to one degree or another between fatty acids like EPA and DHA, SDA, GLA, ALA. There are a number of fatty acids. The A at the end in those references, those 3-letter references, is simply for the acid. And then the first 2 letters are describing a specific type of fatty acid. So stearidonic acid or gamma-linoleic acid or eicosapentaenoic acid. All of these are healthy fats, and they appear somewhere in this cascade conversion between the fatty acid metabolism chart. The most research has been done on EPA and DHA around cardiometabolic benefits, around cognitive benefits and dementia. So when you look into the literature and you study the health benefits of fatty acids, you'll most often come across EPA and DHA. And then to a lesser extent, you see these, SDA, GLA, ALA, etc. But for individuals who are consuming a vegan version of lifelong vitality, that's the source of those other types of fatty acids: algae, cranberry, borage, flax, pumpkin, those types of botanicals.
Awesome. One other question for Christina is, do you advise taking LLV for a period of time, for example, 3 or 6 months, or is there a time period when you need to take a break, or when is the best time to take it?
Yeah. No, this comes up sometimes when people are talking about, for example, maybe doing a cleanse protocol or switching on and off with different products. I mentioned we have foundational products and we have targeted health solutions. And lifelong vitality is one of those foundational products. Right? We might, for example, we may say, oh, I should, occasionally do a fast where I'm not consuming any nutrients and allows my body to go through kind of a round of autophagy and mitophagy and cleansing when I'm going through a complete abstinence and fast from any nutrition. But that's not something that would be on a routine basis, right? Our cells, our bodies, as I've been explaining throughout this webinar, require these nutrients to function properly. So going without them for any prolonged period of time is going to lead to that triage theory of aging and disease, right? Where we have a nutritional deficiency. We don't want the needs of for nutrients to exceed the availability for nutrients. And so we don't want to go without these types of products and these nutrients for a prolonged period of time. There are other products that are targeted health solution products that are better to go without than a product like Lifelong Vitality. There's a reason this product belongs at the base of the pyramid with nutrition and digestion. It's so important that we're getting these nutrients on a regular basis. So I would not recommend that people go cycle on and off of a product offering like Lifelong Vitality. You may cycle on and off of a product, for example, like GX Assist or Zendocrine, where you're doing a cleanse, or maybe even a product like Adaptive with support for your mental stress, or a product like On Guard, if you're boosting your immune system where there's more of a targeted need. But for these foundational products, I would use them routinely without cycling on and off. Hopefully that helps.
Awesome. And then one other question I saw pop up is if there's iodine in the product, and what somebody should do if they have an iodine allergy.
Yeah, we've had iodine in there, potassium iodide. You can also get iodine from kelp. So if individuals have specific nutrient concerns for whatever reason, whether it's a specific health condition or otherwise, certainly be aware of that. We're not aware of your specific situation. So aside from describing the product and confirming that we have iodine in the product, potassium iodide form, then if you're working with a healthcare provider, then certainly visit with them about this. But this is in the microplex product specifically that we have potassium iodide, which is for most individuals is a great way to support the thyroid. But for specific individuals with unique health concerns, certainly visit with your healthcare provider about that.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. Okay, I don't see any hands. Hopefully I didn't miss any of the questions. But if anybody has, well, I think we have time for one more question if you want to raise your hand. Gabriella. Okay, you can unmute if you'd like.
Hi. Sorry, I wrote it in the chat, but I'm not sure you saw it. One question is, how can we calculate per body weight?
Yeah,
How many we should take?
So per body weight, the typical weight for a full-size adult, 65 kilograms. So if you had somebody who was, for example, to be 50 kilograms, then you might go with a 75% of the serving. So 3 capsules instead of 4, or 9 capsules for the total serving instead of 12, for example. The nice thing about these nutrients is that none of them is included in such a high dosage that there's a concern about getting too much. This makes sense. Your body is able to metabolize, and these are supplemental products that are not meant to completely replace your diet. So these products are providing nutrition on top of your healthy lifestyle and healthy dietary choices. But for smaller individuals, they may, use 75% of a serving, 9 capsules instead of 12, for example. If people are much smaller than that, usually we're talking about children, then it may not be the most appropriate product for a child, for example. We have other types of products that are better designed for children, and particularly, the smaller weights with the various dosing. The other component with children who are not aging, of course, in the sense that they're not old, right? Most children are relatively healthy. We don't run into health challenges typically until we're adults. That's when our health starts to slip a little bit more. Most children are relatively resilient, and particularly if they are consuming the good diets and nutrients that they need. And so a product like Alpha CRS that is focused on oxidative stress and um, helping with cognitive decline, these are not things that most children are concerned with, right? Children are going to be consuming vitamins and minerals and healthy fats for brain development and things like this. So from an age and a size perspective, hopefully that gives some context, a little bit of understanding to help with that judgment call. But again, it's based on weight. So if you go by 65 kilograms, 65 to 70 kilograms for full size adult, and then based on where that individual is, you could give kind of a best guess on the dose.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. So if I'm 62, I should take one each in the morning and one each in the evening, correct?
So if it's 62, that's pretty
Yeah.
close to 65, right? So that
Yeah.
I would consider that a full serving.
Okay.
And most people, I think, so for example, when I use Lifelong Vitality, I'll split the dose. I'll do half dose in the morning, half dose in the evening, one with breakfast, one with dinner. And so that works well for me. Some people use it all at the same time so they don't forget.
Mhm.
If people are not consuming the product as they should per their weight and size, then they're missing out on the benefits, right? It's like not changing the oil in the car. You can't necessarily expect the benefits if you aren't using the product as it's designed. So I I would probably, for a 62 kilogram individual, I'd probably do two, half a dose in the morning and half a dose in the evening.
Awesome. Good, good. Okay. Well, I know you just got a couple minutes left. I see just a couple more questions about why vitamins are important to take during pregnancy. One question that I'll really quickly answer is we do have the vegan Microplex VMZ in the market in the UAE, but the XC Omega is not vegan. So one of the reasons why we chose the vegan version of the Microplex is because it had the methylated B vitamins, which most people prefer in the US because they're easy to absorb. And they are also all halal certified. And they say that on the labels and bottles of each of the LLV products, which is also a great thing for our market. I'll throw the pregnancy one to you, Alex, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure. So a lot of times women, their first recommendation, their first exposure to use vitamins may be when they are expecting, right? If they visit with their healthcare provider, and their healthcare provider may then say, oh, you know what? You're expecting, and it's important while you're growing this other human being, this body, you're making this all these different organs and tissue types and cells. It's important that you get these micronutrients that you need. And so they'll often recommend, for example, consuming folate, dietary folate. And this helps to prevent neural tube defects. And other B vitamins, as Andrew mentioned, methylcobalamin, the methylated folate and methylcobalamin are important for the synthesis of DNA, for the way that our metabolism works, and all these other vitamins and nutrients. Iron also, iron's important for the synthesis of red blood cells and the carrying of oxygen by red blood cells to different areas of the body. Calcium, of course, is contributing to bone formation. So you can understand that these important micronutrients, particularly for expecting mothers, are very important to help them get the nutrition that they need for that developing baby. And so as I mentioned, a lot of women, that's their first exposure, their first recommendation to use something like a multivitamin or a product like Lifelong Vitality. And so that's a little bit of context and background there. It is of course, you know, pregnant women are a specialized class of people who should, of course, be very attentive to their nutritional status and making sure that they're getting the nutrition that they need.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. We appreciate you hopping on this call, supporting our grand opening as well as this webinar. We'll continue to do these webinars quarterly, monthly as time and logistics of everyone's schedule permits. We appreciate everybody who hopped on this call, especially a big thank you to Alex. I know you've got, again, a lot on your plate, and this recording as well as this discussion and the teaching that you provided to everybody is going to really help infuse a solid understanding of the Lifelong Vitality Pack in our market. So we appreciate you so much.
No, it was my pleasure. Thank you all for joining. Hope we can do it again.
Okay, awesome. Well, Alex, you have a good rest of your day. I'm on the other side of the world, so it's my evening, and I think we've got a lot of other people that are on multiple continents. So wherever you are in the world, we appreciate you for hopping on the call, and we will see you next time on our following webinar. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.